Couldn't find the hole. Greetings viewers, welcome to my second video. Hopefully you enjoyed the intro. I wanted something short and sweet but still kind of cool, so I think he nailed it. Hopefully you guys think the same, but you're not here to talk about video intros. You clicked on this video link for a reason. And today we're going to talk about SBRs versus Bullpups. Why is this even a topic for discussion? Or did I just throw some answers out to a question that didn't need to be asked? I don't know. Let's talk about it and we'll see what you guys think by the end of the video. So let me switch up the camera view here just a little bit, and then I can go over what we have here and talk about the points that I want to hit today. All right, so as you can see on the table here in front of me, I have three rifles. The one here at the top, this is a 16-inch barreled AR. This is an 18-inch barreled Tavor SAR model. And the one down here at the bottom is an AR with an 11.5-inch barrel on it. Yes, I do have a tax stamp for that. Please do not come and shoot my dogs. So all three of these weapons have chamber flags in them. They have been cleared. We are being safe. There is no live ammunition anywhere near where I am filming, so we are being as safe as possible. So I have the 16-inch AR here just for scale, so you guys can see the length difference. We are going to compare sizes today. Usually not recommended to do that, but in this case it's valid. So I'm going to try and put these about even in terms of this imaginary line down here where the butts are going to measure up. And as you can see, we've got our 11.5-inch barrel here, just slightly under the Tavor here, which again, this is an 18-inch barrel, 11.5-inch. That's pretty significant. And then we've got our 16-inch barrel AR, which is kind of getting out of close to the edge of frame here, but you can still see that this thing is definitely quite long when it comes to comparing sizes for the two guns we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this off the table just so there's less clutter. So then we can focus on what we're actually here for and what you guys wanted to hear me yap about. So the accessories and all the things that are on here do not matter in terms of the comparison of the guns. However, I will say that this stock that is on the AR, this is the Maxim Defense PDW stock. As far as I know, this is the shortest possible PDW style stock that you can get for an AR that uses a buffer tube still on the market. Somebody may have come up with some other newfangled thing that's even shorter than that. This is not at the smallest setting, so if I go ahead and do that, that's going to shorten this up even more, so we're now a little bit more in line with the flashlight on the Tavor instead of the end of the flash hider. So we've cut off probably about 2 inches here, and if you remember, I said this is an 18-inch barrel on the Tavor, so if this was a 16-inch barrel, we'd be probably dead on even with this collapsed at the smallest setting. So the smallest setting on this stock, personally, I am not able to shoot this gun comfortably. I have to pop it out at least to that first section. I'm sure there's some of you tactical gurus out there that are able to do it. It's not comfortable, it's not practical for me, so that's why I have it out here. Not trying to cheat or take anything away from this and say that the Tavor is the greatest weapon ever invented and give it an advantage in this comparison. That's why I have it extended to there. But even still, with it extended out one, it is still shorter than this 18-inch barreled Tavor. Now, there are multiple different Bullpups out there, as you can see from this picture here with the names. They're all made by different manufacturers. They may have different controls on them, but generally they're all the same. And so the Bullpup name just means that the magazine and the firing mechanism and the bolt and everything is behind where you grip it. So this is actually the slot where the magazine goes on this weapon. This is the ejection port on this side. The charging handle is up front on the side. Why would somebody want an SBR to begin with, or a short-barreled rifle? Well, besides the obvious cool factor of having a smaller gun, which is still a valid thing, and maybe that may be the only reason why you want it, because it looks cool. However, a lot of people typically choose the shorter-barreled platform in the AR because they want something for CQB. Something to operate inside of your house when you hear something go bump in the night. Guys that are getting in and out of vehicles such as cars, boats, airplanes, helicopters, it's a heck of a lot easier to maneuver something that's got this shorter barrel on it when you're working around other people. You got furniture, other things in a house, things that you may snag on or doorways you have to penetrate, and you want as little barrel sticking out of the front of that gun as possible, definitely go with an SBR. It's a great option. It's going to give you more firepower than a pistol, but you're still getting it in a smaller package, and that's generally why people choose SBRs. Now, the one caveat to owning an SBR that has a legit stock on it, not a pistol brace, and we'll talk about that in just a second, is that you then have to go through a process with the ATF that can take anywhere from 6 to 9 to 14 months plus to get approved before they say, yes, you can own this weapon and you can put an actual legit stock on it. And then you now fall under their purview, and theoretically, if they want to come knock on your door at any day or time, they can and say, hey, we want to see this weapon and your tax stamp and make sure you're valid. And anytime you travel with it, you have to make sure you have your paperwork with it in some capacity to verify that you are legally allowed to own that weapon, so you do not become a felon, pay lots of money, end up in prison, and you can't own guns anymore. That would be very bad. We don't want that to happen. So a lot of people, to circumvent that process, they've started putting pistol braces on their weapons with short barrels. Well, that's now come under fire after a couple flip-flops back and forth by the ATF. So there's a little bit of uncertainty there. There's a lot of people kind of panicking. They're not really sure what to do. There's a couple options they have, and that's a whole other set of issues that they're having to deal with just by wanting to own an AR that has a short barrel on it. Now, again, let's take a look at why we're here. So we're comparing this SBR to a Bullpup. So like I said, the main draw and reason why somebody would want a short-barreled rifle is that nice compact package to maneuver in tight spaces or around people. Well, you're looking at a direct comparison to something that is not an NFA item, such as this SBR rifle is. You can go to the store and purchase this as is right off the shelf, and you have a nice compact package weapon that includes an 18-inch barrel instead of a 11.5-inch barrel, or again, the more popular 10.5. So basically that could be the end of the video right here. You said you want a small package weapon, you don't want to wait 9 to 14 months to maybe get approved to own it, go buy a Bullpup, done. And when video's over, you can click off, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. However, we'll kind of go over a little bit of some more of the intricacies, and then we'll kind of do like a mini review of the Tavor here. So like I said, there is multiple different variations you can get and manufacturers of Bullpups. This is the only one that I own, so that's why I am using this one specifically as a comparison. They generally all have the same features. You still have a safety selector, a trigger, mag release, bolt lock. The charging handle is up here again on the opposite side. So the controls are different than an AR. I can understand if you're an AR shooter, you want things to be uniform, you want to shoot the same weapon system and be consistent no matter which one you pick up. Everything's right where it's supposed to be. Nothing wrong with that. However, just like I talked about with the Mark 47 video, you have to compromise on some things when you change stuff. So now let's talk about one of the drawbacks that comes with a shorter barrel in an AR. Well, basically that's going to come down to longer ranges and accuracy. Now, if all you're going to use this for is to keep it by the bed at night and you're not going to shoot any further than 50 feet across your house, then that's absolutely great. Then you're not worried about shooting several hundred yards away, then there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not trying to sway you from getting an SBR or a pistol AR. I'm just trying to show you that you can get the same desired results and effects from getting a smaller weapon to getting something that has a longer barrel. And with an 18-inch barrel, if you had an 18-inch barrel on this AR, you're going to get a lot more precise range when, again, you stretch it out to a couple hundred yards. This particular gun has a Trijicon SRS on it with an EOTech magnifier behind it. So that 18-inch barrel gives me the little bit of extra range. I have the option, I can again flip this magnifier up if I am shooting a little bit further distance. Are there people out there that can max the effective range of this round and this weapon system out with the shorter barrel on it? Absolutely. I'm not one of those people. I'm not here to test shooting this thing at 1,000 yards today. I'm not going to. That's not what we're here for. Again, we're making these direct comparisons and pros and cons. So your con for your SBR at this point is going to be long-range accuracy, and that's going to go to the weapon system with the longer barrel. So now we talk about controls on this thing. Well, this is where it's going to kind of come in a little bit different. So when we look at, I'll show you that picture again of the different Bullpups. If you notice, the majority of them all have an index finger mag release. This Tavor specifically, this model Tavor specifically does not have that feature. I don't have anywhere up here that I can use my index finger to drop a magazine like I can on the AR here, which is going to ultimately slow down your reloads, and I do plan to test that later, so we'll get on the shot clock and see what kind of times we can pull up comparing reloads from a AR to the Tavor here. Now, This is going to be a drawback to this Tavor specifically. This, again, gun that I have in front of me, this is your mag release. It's kind of a little paddle style here, almost like an AK, except theirs goes forward to pull the mag out. This one has to come back. So you get that kind of gripping motion as you're gripping the mag. You can hit it and snag the mag out the bottom, which is going to slow you down slightly. However, if you think about guys that run dump pouches with an AR, you're kind of having to do the same thing. You're having to reach up, grab the mag, stow it, and reach for your next one, whereas this one, you're gonna have to reach up, pull it out, grab your next mag, and load it. So that in terms of speed may be comparable. The other benefit to the Tavor specifically, I do not know that this is a capability on any of the other ones I showed you, so please don't hold me to that. But the Tavor that I have here, you can convert it to left hand as is without doing any major modifications. The only thing that it requires you to do is to purchase a left-handed bolt, and on the back side here, so you can see where this ejection port is open, I'm a right-handed shooter, so the brass is going to kick out the right side here. On the other side of this weapon, there's a plate that covers up the opposite side. All it requires is you swap this plate. This is a aftermarket Gearhead Works one that has a built-in QD mount for a sling. I really like that feature, so that's why I went with this particular one. I replaced the stock one. But anyway, this would simply go on the other side. You would swap that other side to here, so now your shells are going to eject this way with the left-handed bolt, and you now have a left-handed weapon, and you cannot do that with an AR. So if you were a left-handed shooter shooting an AR, you're going to either have to go with a manufacturer that makes a dedicated left-hand AR, or you're just going to have to worry about getting slapped in the face with your brass as it's kicking out. So I think that versatility factor definitely comes in handy for the Tavor itself, and then also you can swap the charging handle. You would just move this rail to the other side and the charging handle would come here. Now, in terms of comparing the two weapons directly with each other, this Tavor is a pretty beefy gun. How that weight is distributed is what makes these weapon systems completely different. Now, when you pick up this AR and you're holding it, if you're just holding it with your dominant hand on the pistol grip, all this weight out front, especially if you have a bunch of lights and lasers and foregrips and bipods and crazy attachments and wind speed indicators, it's going to put a lot of weight that's now going to tip. And your balance point is all the way back here, so it's a little bit more unwieldy up front, which again, you got your support hand to help with that. But Thanos would definitely not be happy with this because it's not perfectly balanced. It's definitely leaning forward heavy. Now, the other major difference here is all the weight for the Tavor is back here. So when you pick it up and you're holding it by the grip, rather than the gun leaning forward, this thing is going to definitely hang back. However, this is where your shoulder is. So that's going to take the brunt of the weight and hold it for you. It's not relying on your support hand to hold all that weight up, where you're extending it out from your body and you can get fatigued holding it up a lot longer. You just put this up against your shoulder, pull it in tight with your dominant hand, and you can pretty much hold this thing one-handed all day on target. And if not, go work out. Cardio and muscular endurance and strength is definitely important. I don't really know what else much there is to say in terms of direct comparison. We've got our accuracy, we've got our weight distribution. Again, the manual of arms is going to be quite different switching to this system. The Tavor X95, which is the little brother to the SAR model here, it only comes in a 16-inch barrel, but again, it does have that index finger mag release. So when it comes to, if you guys are trying to shave milliseconds off your time when it comes to reloads, well, that one's probably going to give you a little bit more benefit, but again, you're not going to get that 18-inch barrel on it if you do want that extra 2 inches, because yes, 2 inches is a lot. So again, I don't really know much else to point out here. If you guys have any questions or you think I missed something comparing these two in the way that I've talked about already, the next step that I plan to do is we're going to go out to the range and I want to do some reload drills. And my plan for that, so that you guys can understand what I'm doing before you start seeing it and you know what's happening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert an empty mag into the gun. I'm going to have the bolt locked to the rear, so we're basically going to simulate, I fired all my rounds off, my bolt locked back, I'm empty, I have to reload. Going to be up on target, the shot timer is going to beep. I then have to use that beep as my indication that, hey, my gun's empty, I'm going to do my chamber check, I'm going to kick the empty mag out, I'm going to reload, and I'm going to put one shot on target. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that one shot on target to see how long it takes from that beep, or me recognizing that my gun's empty, to being able to get the gun back in the fight. Now keep in mind, your In either situation, transitioning to your secondary weapon is probably going to be your fastest bet, but all I'm doing in this test is going to be comparing directly reloading the weapon system itself. So let's say the ranges that I'm shooting are ineffective for a pistol and I need to get my rifle back up for that reason. So if that's what you have to tell yourself in order to not go down in the comments and tell me I'm stupid and that you should be transitioning and not reloading, yes, I already know that. That's not the point of this test. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing at least 3 to 5 times with one system, and then we're going to switch to the other one and do it again 3 to 5 times, and we're going to compare those numbers. And to be honest, I do not believe that the Tavor is going to come out on top in that respect. I'm sure there's guys out there, you know, the IDF runs this as a primary weapon system. I'm sure some of those guys can reload this thing faster than any one of us can reload an AR because they've done it 400,000 times, and that's great. So proficiency with your particular weapon system is going to be important. If, let's say, you're like, you know what, I don't want to wait over a year for the ATF to decide I might be able to own something that I should be able to own without asking their permission, I'm just going to go get a Bullpup. If you do that and you decide, hey, you know what, the Bullpup's the thing for me, I don't think they're that ugly, and I want that long range and short package available to me, and I'm going to pick that thing up, make sure that you practice with it. Even if you're standing there in your underwear in your closet, doing reloads with a dry weapon, that's a heck of a lot better than just looking at it, watching all the John Wick movies and thinking, yeah, I could do that any day. I'm good. I don't need to practice or train. You have to practice. You have to train. Whether you're an AR shooter, a Bullpup shooter, an AK shooter, you need to work on those skills. But again, that's not the point of this video, so I'm going to shut up. We're going to meet back out on the range and we're going to do some drills. All right, like I said, here we are back on the range. I'm going to be shooting at these targets from 7 yards or 21 feet. Some of you may ask why that range is significant or why I keep using it. Well, traditionally and statistically, that is the distance that most gunfights take place, not necessarily overseas. So we're not talking tier 1 units operating out in an environment. We're talking here on US soil, cops and bad guys shooting it out, civilians exercising their concealed carry, and most traditional shootings are taking place at that distance. So that's the distance that I typically use. And we are comparing shorter packaged weapons today, and we're talking about CQB environments. So we're going to be shooting in those close distances. I already explained what the drill is going to be, so we're just going to shut up and go ahead and get set up and do it. That was horrible. Now let's just have some fun, shall we? Alright, so that was definitely not my best work. I did not do any shooting before turning the camera on. We just went out there cold because in life you're not going to get a warm-up. So basically when I'm done with this video, editing it and uploading it, I'm going back out there and I'm going to be reloading until the sun goes down and I'm sick and tired of it because that was, again, that was pitiful. I'm not going to pretend that I'm Jerry Michalik, but I also don't get paid and sponsored to shoot thousands of rounds of ammo a day, so unless somebody wants to do that, I'll be glad to get all the practice in that I need. Now, again, this is not a complete review video of the Tavor. If that is something that you would like to see, please let me know down below and I'll do a little bit more in-depth specifically just for this weapon system. But I basically was able to go over all the points I wanted to nail home with you as far as comparing the barrel lengths, accuracy, and basically just letting you know that if you're in the market for a small compact weapon and you don't want to go through the hassle of Form 1ing something so you can put a stock on it, and you're a little bit concerned about what's going on with the pistol brace rule right now, my recommendation would be to get a Bullpup. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. There's got to be one out there that tickles your fancy. I know some of them may be a little bit ugly, and they're definitely not my favorite. I am definitely approve of the Tavor. It is battle tested. There are some law enforcement agencies that are running it, and I've had zero issues with it. In fact, I have had not a single malfunction since owning this thing for at least the last 8 years. So take that for what it's worth. That's just me. Again, it is a different weapon system. If you are an AK or an AR shooter, you are going to have to learn a different manual of arms when it comes to locking the bolt back, when it comes to doing reloads, opening and clearing your chamber. So definitely going to require some repetitions to get that down until it's flawless. I'm no stranger to that. I'm not going to, again, sit here and doctor up the video and do a bunch of reps before turning the camera on just so I can look good for you. I make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now it just shows me what I need to work on and kind of drives that point home that you guys need to work on your reps. Watching all the John Wick movies in order is not going to get you where you need to be in your skill level, and when the day comes you may need to pull the trigger on somebody, you're going to really wish in that moment that you had practiced a little bit more. So don't let that happen to you. Practice, practice, practice. Even if it's a dry gun with empty mags, practice until you're tired of it, and then practice some more. So with that, I am going to call this video here. If there's anything that I missed or you think I should have added, please let me know down below. If need be, I can do a follow-up video, or again, if you want to see a full review of the Tavor, I'll be more than glad to do that for you. So please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.